When my hotline was on, yeah. The pain of our past persists to this day. In Kentucky, like many states throughout the South, lynching was a tool of terror. It was used to kill hopes for freedom. It was used to kill my ancestors. Now, in a historic victory for our Commonwealth, I have become the first Black Kentuckian to receive the Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate. My opponent, the very person who compared expanded health care to slavery. The person who said he would have opposed the Civil Rights Act. The person who single-handedly blocked an anti-lynching act from being federal law. The choice couldn't be clearer. Do we move forward together, or do we let politicians like Rand Paul forever hold us back and drive us apart? In November, we will choose healing. We will choose Kentucky.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports contests and events with first-to-market odds and lines. What's up, y'all? It's your man, Lloyd Spence. And listen, all you got to do is find your reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf, all at betonline.ag. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. So, head to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, B-L-E-A-V 50, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. It's BetOnline, it's where the game starts. Tell them the Noisemakers sent you.
Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Yeah. Popcorn World. Can I make you move now? Yes, I can. So you can get this groove in the back of a can. Put the big around the world and the holes in your hand. Popcorn World. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. 250 flavors. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. It's a popcorn world. It's a popcorn world. What's that saying? Breaking down the rumor and smiling out. Speaking for the people who must go around. Taking towards the power, the whisper and the shout. We're talking noise. Oh yeah, talking noise. Hey yeah, say it again, say we're talking noise. Yeah, talking noise. Really don't have time to fool around. Never noise keeps us lined up. When truth divine, the sign that you is a sign of success. We're talking noise. Oh yeah, talking noise. Yeah, picking up all the time. We're talking noise. Yeah, yeah. Talking noise. Say it again. We're talking noise. Welcome to Talkin Noise, the daily podcast that brings you up to speed and keeps you informed about real issues affecting real people. With your host, Mr. Talkin Noise himself, Lloyd Spence. His beautiful wife, Mrs. Noise, Kenyatta Spence. The ever-informed Brother Noise, Alan Brown. And yours cordially, Uncle Noise, Shake Anderson. Come on in and join us as we reveal and opine today's most pressing issues. Real truth while having real fun. Talkin Noise is in your house right now. So sit back and enjoy Talkin Noise.
2, 1, ready, come on.
We're gonna have a good show tonight. Little bit controversy. It's always the conversation. I was a little Long Beach just then.
Hey, we lucky we got
Yeah, bring your kids.
Good people of Noise Media, I bring you good tidings of great joy. White organist. Oh, I'm sorry, white guitarist. Please forgive me. Thank you. Hello, brothers and sisters. One and all, we love you so much. God bless each and every one of you. We hope that you have a good time here tonight on Talkin Noise, the daily podcast. We're so glad to see you. Bring your Bibles, bring your church friends, bring everything you got for a wonderful evening of conversation and merriment as we frolic through the mind and psychology of America. In Jesus' name. Thank you, White Guitars. You've been so pleasant to have this week. I'm going to miss you, being that this is your last day. But keep your phone near you. I may be calling again. Thank you. Hello, everybody.
Damn.
Listen, I told White Organist to knock it off. He didn't want to knock it off. I had to show him. Hopefully he has learned. He texted me earlier and said, can he come tomorrow? And I said, no, we got the 5 tomorrow. But you can come Thursday.
So you should have told me he should have came in tomorrow. You should have said, yeah, come on.
Learn another lesson, right?
Learn another lesson. Come on in.
Listen, Mama Noise, okay. Mama Noise is not feeling good tonight, so she's not gonna make it. So she felt like she still needed some estrogen in the house, so she sent a replacement. For her tonight, the lovely Miss Patrice Moreau.
Hello. Hey guys. Thank you for having me.
So the beautiful part about having Patrice is that the beauty part of our show doesn't wane in any way. We still, because if it had just been the 4 of us, this is a rough looking show.
Pretty ugly show. Been a pretty ugly show.
Rough looking show. But now that Patrice is here, we keep our beauty quotient pretty high. So
can you fix the screen?
Yes, Ron, I will fix the screen. Is that what you? There you go. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Actually, should slide in. All be on the same row. Is that where it should be?
You know, shit happens when you put both of us at the bottom.
It's possible. It's very possible. How are you doing, everybody? Patrice, how are you doing? Let's start with you.
I'm good. How are you?
We're wonderful. How does it feel out in lovely California?
Man, it is hot today.
Okay, but what do you call it hot though? Because
it's like an oven. It's hot. I don't even know what the temperature is, but it is hot. Like I stepped out to check the mail. Oh my God, let me look. I'll look and see what the temperature is today.
Yeah, I'm gonna need confirmation on this temperature because what y'all call hot in California and what the rest of the country calls hot might not be the same thing.
My weather thing isn't working. It's 100 degrees right now.
Oh, y'all hot? It's hot. It's hot.
Wow.
It's 100. It's 100.
I think it got up to 102 today.
Oh, it's hot. It's hot. It's hot. Yeah, it's hot. It's hot.
Well, you know, I live in the desert, so
Yeah, okay.
it's extra hot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you catching all of them. You catching all them heat bullets.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, I can't say nothing to that. It's hot. 102 is hot. 102 is hot. So
Are you outside of LA desert or outside of San Diego desert?
Outside of LA desert. So yeah, I'm in the Inland Empire.
So you're not in LA. You're in the Inland Empire. So
Yeah,
you're
correct.
near Ontario and all that area down there.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Okay. Are you in Ontario?
No, but I'm about 20 minutes from Ontario.
Got you. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So I know where you are.
15, 20 minutes.
I got you. I got
Yeah.
you. That's a nice area.
It is, but hopefully in the next year I'll be moving up closer to LA. That's the plan.
Oh, you want to go closer to LA?
I don't want to live in LA, but I want to live closer to LA because it'd be better for work to be closer. So
Okay.
yeah,
Got it.
maybe Ontario, Claremont,
Do
Monrovia
you guys
area.
do you guys have traffic nightmares out there like LA does?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Just as bad?
yes and no. So not really here. Well, yes, because the people are going. I'm gonna say that. So it's because the people are going to LA. So like you really gotta like work on the timing. Timing is everything. So like yesterday, last night, I was coming back from LA and it was about 8:45. Shouldn't have been no traffic, right? Or just very little. It was stop and go. But the problem was construction. And they took it down to one lane. So yeah, that was tough.
The devil is always busy.
Yeah.
Always busy. Ron, Al B, Cuz is here. Al B's here. Surviving JCPS is the new documentary that Al B is a part of. He's filming it in real time right now. Surviving.
Who the hell told you I was surviving?
Well, I just said that's what it's called. I didn't say you were.
I'm struggling, man. I'm struggling.
Are you struggling, bro?
Man, it's rough today. Today was better than yesterday, so maybe we on the downward slope.
So that's a good trend. One good day.
Right. So maybe we didn't weather the storm.
You gotta sing that song. I told the storm
to pass.
There you go. See, I'll be on cue. Al is a gospeltarian. Is that what it's called? That's not what it's called.
That's a new job.
What is it called?
It's like what Mama Noise says she gonna be. A Presbyterian.
A Presbyterian. She gonna be a Presbyterian. Oh, she gonna do that by herself.
Or maybe she said pescatarian. I don't know.
She gonna do that by herself. I don't want to be a Presbyterian. I've served with them before. It's a lot of work.
Oh damn.
Yeah, they got their own building and everything. I don't want it. Cuz, what's going on, buddy?
Same old shit, just a different day. Ain't nothing going. Still trying to pay these white folks.
Well, let me ask you a question. How many white folk are you paying at this current time? Because you speak of this often, and I'm just curious: is there a line out the door?
Are you an indentured servant?
Right? Are you what is going on? Speak on your current situation with these white folks?
Well, it's not that it's so many of them. It's just that they keep coming, month after month after month. It just keep coming, and I gotta stay on top of them.
Kind of like discovering roaches in your house. You think you've killed them all, and then boom, there's another one.
There go another one.
Or gnats. Is gnats better? We'll go with gnats.
I would rather have gnats than roaches.
Okay, we'll go with gnats then. I apologize. We'll go with gnats. Gnats is a little more palatable.
It's easier to get rid of gnats. I mean, once you got roaches, you're gonna be fighting a little while.
That's a little fight. That's a big fight. Ron, how you feeling today, man? You good?
Yeah, man. Just research.
Okay.
Let me ask you this, Ron.
You doing the bomb? What are you doing? We talking about what you're doing.
Have you tried marijuana, Ron? I mean,
wait a minute. What?
I can't. My job, they test. So if they didn't test, I'd have did that shit a long time ago.
Question. I probably need to save it for the post show because I'll ask this question for the post show because when you said they test, I got many questions down. Like,
if it's too far for you, that means it's too far.
It's too far. It's probably too far. Okay.
Yeah, because man, I'm telling you, if they didn't test, boy, Lord.
I just don't understand that thought process, but okay. Well, listen, we all trying to survive this heat. We making it through best way we can.
No,
Al's trying to.
the heat is breaking in Texas, man. It's not as hot today as it has been. I actually went out there to the mailbox to get that mail so I can pay these white folk, and I didn't burn up on the way out there. I mean, it wasn't that bad. In fact, right now, hold on, let me look.
Lloyd, don't believe that shit. It's hot as hell.
It's going down, really, Ross. Seriously.
So it was a nice 97, wasn't it?
It's a nice 100. You went from 101 to 100.
Oh shit. Well, hell, I guess I'm getting used to it. It didn't feel as hot. Right now, it's 100 degrees. I mean,
see?
Well, maybe it wasn't when you went outside. Maybe it was like 97, 96. And you was like, ooh, it's cool.
That was about 15, 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It felt better, but shit, hell.
Like you said, he went from 101 to 100. It's just ridiculous.
You know what? You don't have to brag, Alicia. You don't have to brag. You don't have to do that. That's not necessary.
So, cuz what is that about 70 days straight?
It's good to see you, though.
It's been pretty close to it, Ron. Seriously, but listen, seriously. All joking aside, by Thursday, our high here in the great state of Texas, northern Texas, will be 86 degrees.
Wow! If that happens, boy, you talk about folk dancing in the street.
And most of next week is in the 80s.
Okay,
it's breaking, y'all. It's breaking. It's breaking.
Something's got to break.
It's been a long road to hoe, but it's breaking.
Yeah, man. I like it. Well, we were so grateful to have Patrice here tonight with us for this tonight's Talk That Tuesday. It's a weird Talk That Tuesday show because it's well, I don't know. It's just a weird show today. We're taking this from, as we tend to do on this show, we're taking this from really multiple angles. I was going to start with the two videos that we saw yesterday with the pastor and the youth sports and connected that way. But then somebody sent me an email or a text about the 22 best states to live in, and I said, "Well, this is interesting. What are they?" Because I know how much Jay likes a good survey. And so I looked at it to see what, how they classified it and how they ranked all of the states. And so overall ranking, the top 5 states were Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Idaho, and Virginia. But the article that was sent to us was not about the top 5 states as much as it was the bottom 5 states. And the bottom 5 states were, in this order, 46, New Mexico, 47, Arkansas, 48, Louisiana, 49, Alaska, and right there at the very bottom at 50 was the crooked letter, Mississippi.
Sounds about right.
So, so then I started looking at what were the criteria that they used to gauge this particular survey or whatever. And so they used 5 categories: affordability, economy, education and health, quality of life, and safety. So I said, well, where did Arkansas rank in affordability? They ranked 4th. And I'm in Arkansas. That's why I asked that question. Arkansas was 4th. Kentucky was like 10th. Mississippi was 7th. Indiana is 3rd. West Virginia is 2nd. Alabama is 1st. So then I realized very quickly this is not a good list to be the top of, because that means your state is poor. So in economy,
but Indiana's not really that poor of a state.
No, Indianapolis is not that poor. The rest of it, right? Indianapolis is not poor. Indiana, as a whole, that's they qualify.
Well, that's because you count Gary, Indiana, in there at the top.
Ooh, you better hope LB. You better hope LB ain't listening. He's gonna get you.
When you look at economy, it flips a little bit because they're talking about the healthiest economies. The healthiest are the top 5 with North Dakota, Utah, Montana, Washington, and South Dakota. But I was like, healthy in relation to what? But that's where they fall. And then the poorest economies, wait a minute. Yeah, the poorest economies were starting with Alabama at 10 or 40. Alabama, Nevada, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, Louisiana. Connecticut, surprisingly, is poor. I didn't know they were that poor. Michigan, Ohio, Mississippi, and Illinois. When you look at education and health, again, Massachusetts, Vermont, Connecticut, Hawaii, and New Jersey.
Wait.
Yes, sir.
You said the poorest economy, and you worded it that way because the number was high or the number was low.
If the number is low, meaning it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the economy is good. If the number is high in the ranking, that means that the economy is not good.
So the one with the best economy was who?
The best economies were North Dakota, Utah, Montana, Washington, and South Dakota. Those are the top 5.
Those were the number 1 economies?
Yeah.
No man. No way in the hell.
Number farmland and marijuana.
Indian land out there. Ain't shit going on out there.
I'm reading what the survey says.
You're reading that mother hubba wrong. Let me bring that mother.
I'm not reading it wrong. I'm not reading it wrong.
Got to be, man. South Dakota? No man.
The healthiest economies are at the top of the ranking.
I thought you was talking about. Oh, you said the healthiest states. You said
states.
You said economy. You said economy.
Right, the economy of that state.
Oh man.
But it's still, but it seems like they would have taken into consideration the population. I mean, I guess they would be healthier. You know, they got fewer people.
Well, this is where Patrice, you kind of stole thunder, but that's fine. I won't let you steal the thunder because you are our guest. Yes, that is exactly right. That's where I was actually getting to. The survey is not comparable to population. I don't see population as a category at all. In fact, when you get to quality of life, here's where it really blows your mind. Quality of life, guess what the number 1 state for quality of life is?
Massachusetts.
No. New York. New York is number 1. California is number 2. Pennsylvania is number 3. Illinois is number 4. Florida is number 5. The bottom 5 are Arkansas, Kentucky, Delaware, Mississippi, and Alaska for quality of life. And safety.
See,
you ready?
That's I call bullshit, man.
Hold on. It gets better. Your bullshit meter is gonna go up times 10 when I say this. Safety, the number 1 state for safety, New Jersey.
Bullshit.
Followed by New York, Wyoming, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire.
That makes sense.
For safety.
We got to be reading it wrong, man.
No, we're not. I'm telling you, we're not.
It's about
if you go down to the bottom of it, it says where a rank of 1 represents the best conditions of that metric category. It says it at the bottom. We're not reading it wrong. The bottom 5 are Oklahoma, Arkansas, Washington State, South Carolina, and New Mexico. Now, why did I bring this all up? Because I agree that the survey itself is bullshit. There's no way New York is one of the safest places in America. Based upon what? There's no way when you say education and health, they said the number 1 was Massachusetts, Vermont, Connecticut, Hawaii, and New Jersey. New Jersey is one of the top places for education.
I can believe that. I can believe that.
Okay.
I'm not going to argue with that one.
The bottom 5 are, well, I'll say bottom 6, Arkansas, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Alabama, Louisiana, and Mississippi.
I'm not going to too much argue with that one.
Where I'm struggling with the with the whole thing is number one, how is this put together? It's based on what? What are the numbers? What is the scoring based upon? And that's why I struggle with surveys, because you can make a survey say whatever you want to say. Somebody in this group, Wallet Hub, who this is what they do. They do studies and statistics.
And they're supposed to be very good at it.
And they're supposed to be very good at it. Somebody took the time to put this thing together. Well, now they put this out and they've tweeted it out and it's gone viral and people are reading it and typing it just like I did today. And now people are going to walk away thinking that these particular states are the best states to live in and these particular states are the worst states to live in. And they're
go
ahead.
First of all, it's very, very, very difficult to qualify a quality of life, affordability, safety for an entire state.
I agree.
If you try to narrow it down to a city, that makes more sense. If you try to narrow it down to a neighborhood, now we're really talking. But to compare an entire city, an entire state, as large as a Texas and as large as a California. I mean, California it's so damn big, it has different economies. Like she lives in a desert. That's totally different from the coastal. That's totally different from the mountains. That's
Exactly.
totally different from the far south. And you have different regions. So how are you saying quality of life?
Right. And how do they have California on there? Because like here, it's crazy. The homeless population is really quite sad.
It is.
And
Maybe the largest in the country. Maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it. And the affordability in it and the prices keep going up. Rent prices keep going up. I've never lived in a place where rent has gone up every year like it has since I moved here. Every single year since I moved to California, rent has increased. I'm like, I don't get it. And we've been at the same place for like 6-7 years.
And then you have to factor in the number of working homeless in the state of California. Those that work, earn a living, but still can't afford housing. So
Exactly.
By the way, the bottom 5 in affordability, I didn't read that one. I apologize. The bottom 5 in affordability, number 50 is California, 49 Hawaii, 48 New Jersey, 47 Rhode Island, 46 New York. But when you go over to quality of life, New York, California, Pennsylvania, Illinois, and Florida take up the top 5. That makes no sense. People can't afford to live there, but they got the best quality of life. That makes no sense.
Doesn't make sense.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Doesn't add up.
the only thing that makes sense in that whole survey is that the great state of Kentucky is ranked higher than the shithole of Mississippi. I said what I said.
Which we kind of knew that. We kind of knew that.
That, sir, is factual.
That wasn't surprising information.
That was so wrong.
It is increasingly, and I bring this survey up for this one particular reason. It is becoming increasingly clear to me why some areas will never overcome who and what they have become, because we've told them that they can't. Notice that the bottom guys were always West Virginia. It was always Mississippi. It was always Arkansas. It was always, we've told them they're poor. We've invested in their poverty. We've invested in keeping them poor. And we've decided that that the poor, that scripture that says the poor you will always have among us, those are the designated poor. Now, what I'd like to see is the survey that talks about crime in those areas. Let me ask Jay. Jay, is crime high in Mississippi?
It's no higher than anywhere else.
No higher than anywhere else.
Now,
although
the reason why I said it that way is because it's difficult to talk about a state. Now, if you're talking about a city, if you're talking about the west side of a city, or if you're talking about a neighborhood, then that's a totally different story. But how do you dare try to say the state of Mississippi is crime ridden? You can't do that for any state.
But I think that's the game. I think that's the financial gain. Because if I deem your city crime or your state crime worthy, what happens if I have a Fortune 500 company and I want to relocate a factory? Well, I immediately cross crime-ridden states off of the list. I can't move my company to Arkansas or Kentucky or Mississippi. The crime is too high. The question that we asked earlier, or we're asking tonight, is, can we? Well, let me read it as it is stated on our Talk That Tuesday. Are we absolutely going to continue to pass trauma to the next generation? Is there no one who can help us fix the trauma? The reality is, I'm not sure people want to fix it. I think there's a profit in the trauma. There's a profit in keeping communities traumatized and impoverished and in a mentality of impoverization. If I can keep you down and keep you thinking that you're down and keep you thinking that there's a reason why you are the way you are and why your community is the way it is. We talked about this yesterday, that the black people don't seem to want to fix their communities. Well, what if the reason why black people don't want to fix their community is because they don't think their communities are fixable? This is what we are. This is who we are. And this is who we'll always be.
Don't you think that's the lie that they told us?
I agree. It is the lie that we told us. But a lie is only as good as the people that believe it.
That's true.
If we believe it and refuse to do anything about it, suddenly it's not a lie anymore.
And how do you reinforce the lie? You keep showing the negativity.
That, and couple it with the fact that black folks don't want to deal with mental health. I think we're in big
do we
denial.
not want to deal with it, or?
I think it's a taboo topic.
Oh yeah, it's taboo. That's 100%. You get talked bad about if you try to do mental health in the black community.
I want to show a little bit of this. I'm gonna try to show it without volume. Hopefully, we won't get flagged if I do it that way. This is the video from 2 days ago in Texas. That is, I believe, the gentleman that was shot, or maybe that's the gentleman that did the shooting. I'm still trying to figure that part out. But anyway, this is the video of Yaqub Talib and his football team and the football team they were playing. This is when the fight broke out. And I believe right around this moment here, maybe slightly before that, is where, because one guy charges at another guy. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let's go back a little bit. you can see the guy charge toward the other guy, right? And somebody threw something, they charge at him, he throws something. Next thing you know, the other guy charges down. I think the guy that got shot is this guy in the white that's bent over. I don't know if you can see him right there. And the guy in the black is, I think, Yaqib Talib. And next thing you know, you hear the guns go off. So like 5 shots. The guy who's videotaping either hits the ground or he runs. Either would be a decent strategy in this moment. He stays on the ground quite a bit of time, which he should. And then the next time you see the video raise up, whoever was shot is laying on the ground right here. And the kids, I guess that's his son right there next to him, because his son was there in front of him. And people are on the phone calling 911. And that's what's happening in our community.
Was his son young?
9 years old.
9 years old.
He's 9 years old.
Why?
Yeah, he's 9 years old. So that's what's happening in our community. And we asked the question yesterday, why would a father even feel the need to have to take a gun to a youth sport event? But after seeing that survey, if I'm being fed by surveys and the news and the newspaper, which online publications now, not actual newspapers anymore. But if I'm being constantly fed that I live in the hood, I live in the ghetto, my existence is that of a criminal area, and it will always be that, and we are always that. I wonder how much of that can we overcome? And of course we asked the question, are we passing it down to our kids? Well, we just watched a grown man get shot to death in front of his son. So yeah, we are.
Yeah, and I think I read an article today. It was like 80 kids at this game.
That were at the game? Yeah.
And then I think they said Talib was a coach on the other team.
I think both of them were, I believe. I'm hearing some stuff that I think I'm trying to confirm it. So this is still unconfirmed. I'll put this in the developing story category. But I've heard that both Talib brothers were either coaches on the team or some way assisting the team in some capacity. And that possibly Aqib Talib may have been involved in the fight himself. But not obviously in the gunshot part, but just the fight itself. Thoughts, people.
You know what? To me, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Now somebody doesn't have a daddy. There's a father gone too soon. And here, we're always talking about absentee fathers. We forget to talk about the ones who are actually there, or we neglect to talk about them. Here's one taken from us. And it makes no sense, because the big thing for me is that it's not that serious. It's a game. It's a ball game. Why?
Well, and I've had a 24 hours now to think about the statement and the question you just asked. Why? And I think the answer that I've come up with is that trauma sometimes is a bottomless pit. And if you don't have a way to close it off, to fix it, to stop it in your life, to kill the cycle, then it'll just continue. You'll just continue to fall. You cannot see better if you've never.
I was with you for kind of thought about that when you said if you've never seen better, then how could you do better? Kind of thought you.
Well, I wasn't, and I stopped myself because I don't know if that's how I want to say it. Right?
Yeah, and to me, he's a grown. I think one of them's like 30 something. I think the other guy was around 40, somewhere around there, 29, 30, give or take. They're old enough. We see people who come out of trauma all the time and can still do what they need to do. So I can't give these guys an excuse that they can't get out of it. I think they just don't want to get out of it. Because if you want to get out of it, you can get out of it if you really want to. Now, there are some people who will have they may not get that opportunity. It's going to be a little bit harder for them. But if you want to get out, it's up to you to decide to get out.
But I think there's an even more striking situation than what you just said, Ron. Because I don't disagree with anything you said, but I think there's an even more striking situation. And that is the reality that in order to make it, you have to get out. That is so bad and so incorrectable that in order to survive it, you have to get out. And I think many of us would take it as a badge of honor that we made it out. I know I've said it. I made it out the hood. I escaped it. The sad part about it is I'm not the example that they'll be able to look at every day to see that you can make it. Because I left. I didn't stay.
But the problem is they probably not the best examples, but there's a ton of examples that they see every day getting out of the hood.
Right, getting out.
And staying out.
But my point is there's no examples to where somebody says, I'm going to build right here in the hood.
No.
And prosper right here with my people. And by the way, we just had yesterday, I think it was, the celebration in Hollywood at the Hollywood Walk of Fame, where they gave a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame to Nipsey Hussle, who tried to stay in his hood and tried to build right there in his hood and put businesses and resources and money and his time and his efforts right there in his hood. And it cost him his life. I'm just saying, how are we supposed to fix this if we can't truly engage it?
Well, the problem is, and I agree with what you gentlemen are saying. If you want out, you can get out. But first, you have to acknowledge that there's a problem. And too many of us don't treat our situations, our dysfunctional situations, as if they're problems. We don't view them as a problem. So short of me acknowledging that there is an issue, I can't correct it. I must acknowledge it. Many of us identify with our trauma and become very proud of the trauma. Just look at some of our inner cities. They rap and they sing about New York, concrete jungle. If I can make it in New York, I can make it anywhere. It's a hellhole. But they walk with pride because they are surviving in that hellhole. You can get that same attitude if you go down to Oak Cliff right now. Very prideful people. So we're not willing to acknowledge that there is a problem. We think that somehow, some way, it's an outside thing. It's not an internal thing. We must fix ourselves in order to fix our neighborhoods. Nobody else can do it for us.
Well, we got to stop glorifying the projects and start bringing back the neighborhood. It's too much pride in being from the projects. It's too much pride of being from the ghetto. You until you change that mindset, it's going to be hard to change the people.
I've heard plenty of people say, Ron, I'm from Oak Cliff. Yeah, yeah. Like, what?
They ain't say it like that, did they?
Whatever, nigga. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. They're proud of it. I'm from Inglewood. Really?
But that pride is what, hate to say, is what helped feed the family that they're at. Because they take that and, you know, it's jumping into the rap music, it's jumping into the sports, it's taking that trauma into these places that's giving them the money to take back into those hoods and keep feeding that hood and keep feeding the same negative narrative over and over again.
You were muted.
You muted, Albie.
I said that could be, but I said that could be. But I tend to believe it has more to do with fear and hopelessness. There's a fear that not only did I not make it, but now my offspring aren't going to make it. There's a hopelessness for the same reasons. How are we going to, and in the instance with Little League sports, I saw it all the time. You have a bunch of grown men trying to live their failed aspirations
through
their kids. And that's why it gets so intense. And that's why you have, I've played when Jeremiah was in Little League football. We played a team and their head coach was a pastor here in the city of Louisville. And he cussed the officials harder than I've ever heard a parent. And I'm like, it's not that, like everybody said, it's not that serious.
It's a game.
But you know, I understand in the great state of Texas, football's different.
I mean, it is. You're right. It is a religion and not just an activity.
They had a whole TV series about 6-7-year-olds.
Yeah, it's a religion and not an activity. I remember when we first started being youth pastors or whatever 20 years ago. The first thing they tell you is don't schedule nothing on a Friday night. That's a waste of your time. So our Friday nights was going to football games as a group. I mean, I don't disagree with that part, Al. I think I'm looking at the total thing and saying, what's the root of this?
Desperation.
Cuz keeps saying it's because we won't acknowledge it. And I don't know if I can 100% get on board with that, because I think one of the reasons why I think we do acknowledge is that a lot of us that figure out we got a problem in the hood, that's why we leaving it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But that's what I'm saying.
But the hood is still not underpopulated. It's still well populated.
But I don't know if they don't know that there's a problem. I think they just said there's maybe no hope to fix it.
Well,
Go ahead.
The problem became normal. The trauma became normal,
which means it's not a problem anymore.
Yeah, so you don't consider it a problem anymore because you see it so much, you deal with it so much that it's not a problem.
It's just a reality.
I'm not poor if everybody else on the block is poor. Shit, we all.
Well, you're not poor, but that's not an untrue statement though, because you don't know that you're poor until you compare your poverty to somebody else. And then you realize, oh, wait a minute, I ain't got nothing.
I never knew I was poor till I grew up and became an adult.
Yep.
If we all got food stamps,
And
and food stamps is the currency.
no, sir, I didn't realize that everybody didn't eat sugar sandwiches.
So if we all got bars on our house, then shit, we all got bars on our house. This is normal.
This is normal. It's not poverty at
You
that
treat it
point.
like it's decoration now. I mean, you're supposed to have.
Matter of fact, you're weird because you don't have any bars on your house.
Right.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with y'all? Now you're poor because you can't afford bars on your house.
There you go. There you go. So maybe, as Unc would say, therein lies the rub. We need to change normalcy and identify things that aren't normal.
Call it out.
But let me ask this question. Is it realistic to think that we can flood the hood with real economic development to where it is not as impoverished as it is now? See, where you're all shaking your head no. So how do you change that? Because that change of mentality has to come with an infusion of something, right?
Infusing it with money.
I'm not saying it's money, but I'm saying it's got to be something. It's got to be something more. You got to show people something more than what they're seeing.
Well, the number one goal of any investor is to make money. It's not charity. It's not to lose money. It's to make money. And if I feel that I could bring my business into your neighborhood and operate safely without being robbed, without being threatened, without being harassed, whatever the case may be, then I'll do it if the numbers make sense. If the numbers don't make sense, then most investors won't do it. Now, some like the brother that just showed up on the screen, he's an investor, but he's also passionate about what he's doing for his city.
Can I go ahead and help every investor in the world right now? Every single one. Let me just go ahead and help you right now. Initially, the investment ain't gonna make sense. Let's go ahead and settle that right now. It does not make sense to put money into a bucket with a hole in it.
No,
which is what we now because I like what Stefan said, and that other voice you heard was LeBaron Burton pulling up. Mr. Popcorn World is in the building. He said the hood is a mentality, not a location.
Thank you.
It is.
And I don't disagree completely with that statement, although I would say it's both. Because I think when you carry the mentality, then where you carry the mentality becomes the location.
Yeah, but here's the thing, because you know I was over here like pulling my hair out earlier because I couldn't say nothing. There's a couple of statements that were made that I think. Number one, I'm sorry, I gotta go all the way back to the Nipsey Hussle example. I despise that example for the simple fact that, and this is going to reside on the internet, and there's going to be a whole lot to get offended by it. The result of Nipsey Hussle was not him staying in his community to help his community, but the lifestyle that he therefore lived prior to him being who he was becoming. And a lot of people don't want to accept that. Okay?
I don't understand what you just said.
If I am a gangbanger, drug dealer, if I have blood on my hands, at some point, unless by the grace of God, that will come back on me. Okay? You can't be partially in the streets and try to change the streets at the same time. I don't know who makes the example of that ever happening. Name one time that you've seen in the history of man where someone was partially in the streets and helped change the streets. Okay, that's just the rough reality of it. I'm sorry.
So where are you getting that he was in the street still? I'm just asking. Because I have not heard that.
Was he ever in the streets?
No, he was in the streets.
Okay, so
but I have not heard that he stayed in the streets.
So getting out of the streets and now trying to live a different life. It's kind of like winning the lottery or becoming a wealthy football player and moving back to your same hood. You can no longer reside there. If you have changed, you must leave, because those that were a part of that life with you have not changed.
Well, I'm not saying he lived like I had a house in the hood. I don't think that's true. I think
His business in the hood.
He had businesses. He invested businesses. Right. He invested money into the hood, and had businesses in the hood.
Right.
So you're saying he can't even do that?
If you live that lifestyle, you cannot reside. You have to. If you're gonna make a clean break, you got to break.
So you're saying he should not have invested in the hood?
What I'm telling you is for your survival. If you're gonna make a clean break, you got to break. You got to leave.
And
so that's what I'm asking you. I'm saying should he not have gone back to invest?
But I'm not even saying that he couldn't invest in the hood. What I'm saying is even down to the situation that he got killed over, right? They were still operating on street rules. You see what I'm saying? And it's that's that gray area. That's why I don't like to use that as an example, because there's too much gray there. You see what I'm saying? Whereas when you look at the hood, right? Somebody used an analogy that they said something about the bars on the doors, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those people. I grew up in a family. My aunt in Alabama raised me and said, baby, if I'm going to put bars on my door, I'm going to do all of this never to be in jail. Why would I put myself in prison? Meaning that if I'm going to put myself behind bars, I'm going to earn my way there. So I live in a city where a good portion of the people carry the iron doors, ride iron doors, right? Guess what LeBaron put on his block? I changed that whole landscape, right? So now everybody on the block is looking at LeBaron's door saying, hey, I like that door. You see what I'm saying? Where did you get that door? It's just a matter of time before someone else tries to get like LeBaron. It's a mentality thing. And I think the problem in our community is as soon as we get a little something, we have been tainted so much by the white is right syndrome that we unconsciously fly to it. And the thing is we never sit around long enough to change our own environment. We try to go get tolerated in someone else's environment. And we will fight to be tolerated in those environments. Because we go to their schools because they got the quote unquote better school system. So we go to their schools and we will fight the racism and the privilege. Okay. And we will fight for our children to have to. I grew up in that. I grew up as one of the only one of.
Well, LeBaron, I understand that, because here's the other side of what you're saying, and it's just the reality. It is in a lot of people's mind, in a lot of black people's mind, it is much easier to fight the subtle racism that you got to fight going out to the suburbs than it is to fight the blatant violence that you and like you said, hood mentality that are in our communities now. Because here's the thing about fighting out in our own communities. If you stand, how many other doors are like your door in your neighborhood?
I'm the first.
That's my point. You are the first, and right now the only. So while your door is making its statement, until others decide to follow suit, it is a lone statement. It is the equivalent of one church saying we're gonna welcome everybody, and 5 other churches saying we'll shoot you if you come to our door, but we love Jesus.
But that's just it, though, Lloyd. The fact of the matter is, someone has to make that statement.
I'm not disagreeing with that. That's not the point I'm making. The point that I'm making is that the hood mentality becomes the location because we all adopt the mentality. It's the same thing we said earlier. If we're all on food stamps, this is us. It's no longer we're in the hood. We are the hood.
Yeah, but
right? And it's not a good thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing, LeBaron. I'm saying that's the reality. We are what we decide we were going to become.
But what I'm saying is, I don't like the gist that the hood. Okay, how I'm trying to say this so that I don't say it the wrong way. I have no problem with the hood. Like, the hood is a part of my culture. Okay? There's not all bad in the hood. All right? So the thing is take for instance, we had take the subject of Good Times, right? The show Good Times.
Right.
It was called Good Times because he wanted the real writer of Good Times wanted to represent and show the representation of the good things in the hood. Now, what we ended up getting was a perversion from white writers. So what I'm saying is, it takes someone to be proud of the culture that they grew up in, right? To show it's a branding thing.
No, I don't think anybody here would disagree with anything you're saying.
Right.
What I think we're trying to get to is, how do we get there? Because if we all leave, which is what most of us do, most of us get out. And then we talk about how bad it is in the hood.
Well, and therein lies the problem, because we're ashamed of the culture that we come from.
I don't know if we're ashamed of it as much as we just...
It's more of a fear.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know, because I'm not talking about a fear of the place. The fear is the mentality. It's falling back into that mentality and seeing what it is. Nobody fears going back into the hood. I mean, the hood, the location people go to, we see it. We know the rules of the hood. We know what time we need to be there, what time we need to be out, what street we need to be on, what street we don't need to be on. We know the hood. We know the rules. It's a fear factor in the fact that I got out, but I'm taking a chance every time I go back that I might not get back out.
That's why I didn't really like what you said about Nipsey, because what other choice did he have?
Well,
he could only listen. He left the hood. He became successful.
Yes,
but he knew going back to the hood to help the hood, though he was bringing industry and infrastructure to certain parts of the hood, that doesn't change the hood rules.
But then he also had a Judas amongst him.
Right.
So, I mean, and you could have that anywhere.
Right. So I don't understand why his example isn't a great one. Because he was trying to do exactly what you said. He was trying to be the one example that would say, the brother was putting freaking workstations down in the hood where you could go and get Wi-Fi, quality Wi-Fi, and office space in buildings downtown LA. Or not even in LA. Was it Compton?
I think it was Compton.
I think it was in Compton.
Why was he killed?
Because of a guy who lived by the hood rules and didn't like whatever he represented, and he out of pure spite on some old beef stuff, I think it was.
Old jealousy and envy.
Yeah.
So I will say this though, out of that tragedy, I think some people came together because they saw what he was actually trying to do. And it's really sad that it takes a tragedy sometimes for that to happen. But not much came from it that I know of, but I know that it was a big deal, even for the people who were on the other side. As far as I know, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of the games called a truce temporarily, and a few other celebrities came together and said we're going to try to pick up some of his causes. But just like anything else, you know, once the this is a terrible word to use, but it's probably more accurate than anything I could use. Once the novelty of it all wears off, people move on, and they go back to doing some of the same thing they were doing before.
And that's the sad part, is that you're right. The novelty wore off. You know, now it's like it's back to life as we know it.
Exactly.
Back to being,
and that's what we were trying to get to, LeBaron. How do we get the other neighbors on the street to say, not only is LeBaron's door a good door, but it's the kind of door we should all have because we trust each other enough to have that door.
And the only way you can, by being proud of, like, you guys know me, can't nobody say nothing bad about Gary. As lacking as it is, can't no one say anything bad about Gary, right? I put my children, I had the choice to put my children through the local private schools. I had the choice. And you're talking about a city where the school was taken over by the state. But guess what? My children, I took them out of the charter schools because I recognized that I was a problem. Right?
Yeah.
And after I take them out of the charter schools, that's my wife is there. We take them out the charter schools, right? And we put them in the public school system. Now, at first, our children were like, oh, they fighting at the school. We start to believe the hype that's fed to us, the branding that's branded to us, right? But the thing is my oldest daughter, Kentucky State, right? She's down there with Allen now. My second oldest, she's going to Kankakee Community College, right? My next son, God willing, he'll be down there at Jackson State. That's 3 kids in a row, okay? Growing up in the hood, in a school that they saying that they fighting every day. My wife will, if she's in the comments, she'll vouch for this. Up until this year, me, myself, I barely ever locked my door in the city of Gary.
But that doesn't mean they're not fighting in the school.
What I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying, though, Spence. You have to, Lloyd, is that you have to be able to move accordingly to who you are, right?
Right.
And be that representation on what you want the city to be. Okay.
Cuz, are you ready to move back to Oak Cliff and move in a way that's going to uplift Oak Cliff and the men in that city?
What are you talking about?
Are you ready to move to Oak Cliff?
I'm not from Oak Cliff.
I didn't say you were. I'm saying, okay, whatever impoverished area is in Mississippi, which I'm sure there are a lot of. Which are you ready to move back to those areas in Mississippi and be an example?
No.
And why is that? Because LeBaron says it's necessary for us to be the example. And I agree with you, Nina. They are fighting in all the schools. That is very correct.
But our community is the one that gets branded. Our community is the one that gets put on Front Street. Guess what? And we know this for a fact. All the money that comes in, and this is why our areas are necessary. That's why our areas are branded to be the worst. This is why our areas are redlined. Because it's necessary to milk that government funding, okay? And then they get all the government funding that comes into these areas, right? And they build the surrounding communities on the back of this terrible area. So yes, we are needed.
Because you are needed in Mississippi. Are you going back to help?
You take your ass back. I'm not going nowhere.
God, why won't you return back to the city of your youth?
No desire.
Okay, I have a.
He,
I think
he
there's
didn't think
some
about it.
element of truth. I think
Yeah,
there's some element of truth to what he Popcorn World guy. What is your name? I'm sorry. I just know you by Popcorn World.
that is LeBaron Burton.
LeBaron. So there's some element of truth to what he's saying, but here's my question, and this is about the academics because I'm heavy on the academics. So we can put our kids back in the schools, and that's fine. But what are we doing to make sure that the kids are prepared? Because just putting them back in the school is not enough.
But see,
What are we doing?
that's the thing. The reality of the matter is, whether you put them in the best of the best schools or the worst of the worst schools, guess what? Most of their discipline and most of their habits are taught at home.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, let her finish real quick. Go ahead. Let her finish real quick. Go ahead, Patrice.
But what I'm saying is, how are we enriching that? Because we know that they hire the less qualified teachers in the hood. Let's be honest. I worked in the inner city schools, and I know that they hire the least qualified, and they're not teaching them. They're not telling our kids, and it's really a sad thing. But they're not telling our kids that they can do it. When I first got to, I worked at a school in downtown Minneapolis, and there was a student. He was in special ed, and the teacher asked him to do something, and he was like, um, "I can't do it, Miss Torres. I can't do it. I'm in special ed." And I'm like, just because you're in special ed doesn't mean you can't do it. So my question is, what are we doing? Putting them back in, yeah, that's one thing, that's good. But how are we making sure they get what they need so that they can go to so they can go to the next level, so they can go to like Kentucky State? Like, what did you and your wife do to make sure that they had that?
I give most of the credit to my wife, right? Because
Mhm.
my wife is the one she's bigger on education than I am. I'm more of a hands-on person. I'm more of a, we come from two different places, right? My wife, we're my kids are on the sports teams. We're up there at the school. The school is taken over by the state. Guess who's at every meeting? You see what I'm saying? We become a part of the system, okay, to make sure that the system doesn't take advantage of our people.
So
When
you
you
are
say
an active. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I know, Patrice, I was just going to ask you a question because you made a statement that was interesting to me, and as a former educator, I have to ask this question. What do you mean the teachers in the hood are less qualified? What do you mean?
Yeah, let me clarify because I see someone say that there.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about our black teachers because we care. I'm talking
Okay.
about I'm talking about the ones who aren't really there to educate. They're there for the paycheck. A lot of times, let's just be very honest, we have Caucasian teachers who come in, they're not looking out for our best interest. I'm not talking about the black teachers that are at the
So
school.
you're talking about they don't have the same empathy.
They don't have the same empathy. They don't have a lot of times they come into the schools, and I've seen it firsthand. I'm not saying that like all of them are least qualified. So maybe the statement I said was inaccurate. But
No,
what
that's fine. That's why I asked because I didn't think that's what you meant, but I
not
just wanted to make
exactly.
sure.
No,
Right.
that's not exactly what I mean. I
Right.
just mean that a lot of times, first of all, we don't see a lot of us. But when we see us in the schools, a lot of times those are the best teachers, the teachers of color. A lot, and that's not always the case, but a lot of times that's the case. What I saw when I saw the teachers of color, they were the best teachers. They were good at what they did. They were good at making sure that a spirited debate didn't turn into three black students going to the office. But when we had other teachers there that didn't really, maybe they couldn't resonate with the students in those situations, more kids were going to the office, more fights. The kids didn't have that self-efficacy, and the teachers honestly just weren't qualified. Like I remember my daughter telling me that she actually heard a teacher say they didn't want to be a teacher.
Yeah, that goes with what Miss Nina said, that some of those teachers were even unlicensed and get enough experience to learn the techniques and get their student loans paid off.
And that's exactly what I mean.
And I
Because
know,
there's
like
that.
I said, I know you teach and all that, and I know we say a lot of them are not qualified, but I know everybody have a problem with the word qualified. There's nothing. There are a lot of teachers that are not qualified. Just because you have your degree, just because you went through there, and just because you got to the school doesn't mean that you're qualified. Yeah, you got your papers, but what have you done other than get your papers to get into that building? A lot of these teachers are coming into our schools and they're teaching them as a stepping stone. I get there today, I'm gone in a year. I don't care about what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to get here, get my year in to go somewhere else.
And that's exactly what I mean.
So
But, you know,
to say
realize
unqualified, I don't think is a problem because, you know, and Cuz says it all the time. If you want better schools, we got to put the people down there because the public school is funded by where the people are.
But
and the more we don't invest into our neighborhoods, the least they're going to put into our schools.
And then this is the other thing, Ron, is I want to draw attention to this because once again, it's a branding thing, right? And we're branded to hear that our school has the worst teachers. And listen, I went to a predominantly white school. It was listed as the number 1 or 2 school education-wise in the state when I was there. That system, okay? I was one of 3 black students all the way up until I got to like 4th grade. This is how white the community was. All right? Here's the thing. By the time I got to high school, I literally passed U.S. history. I passed it with a B, and I only spent maybe 2 days in that class. I literally ditched that class every single day, and I got a B. You see what I'm saying? How was I able to do that? But that school was rated one of the best in the state as far as education is concerned. And I ranked high on all the test scores. I did. I ranked in the top 90 percentile in the test scores. Guess what they did? The difference between them and us, they taught us how to take those tests.
I understand what you're saying. I think the challenge that I'm having with this, with just the school conversation and the fact that Cuz will refuse to go back to Mississippi and help those people, despite the fact that statistics that we've shown here tonight have said that he's 1,000% necessarily needs to go. I think the challenge that I'm having is that we understand how bad this all is. But if we can't agree, and there's a level of fundamental agreement that I have to have with Cuz in this, and that as much as that pains me, that we have to agree that there really is a problem that we have collectively said we're going to fix. Because here's the other problem of the teachers that we don't talk enough about, and it's probably more in alignment with what the bigger problem is as well. There are teachers that go down there and they don't give a damn and they don't care and they just down there and they're just going to do the bare minimum and get on out the door. That is true. But then the other part of the problem is that there's a teacher that cares too much. She's way too sensitive and way too, the poor black kid. And so now she overdoes it. She don't want him to have to, little Johnny's just having a bad day and come sit in my office and you ain't got to, anytime you start having a bad day, little Johnny, just come sit in here. And he ain't learning nothing either.
But he passed.
Well, he's passing because she's just passing him. He ain't passing because he knows shit. He's just passing because they just want him they want to get him out of the system. And in Texas, they've already labeled little Johnny as special ed, so he don't count against the books no way.
I'm so sick of us getting so many IEPs and ABCs, and I mean, if you go statistically, just about every one of our kids got some type of ADD, ADHD, IEP. I mean, you name it, we got it, and it's all to process paperwork to get that money, that revenue.
Well, and see, that's what I'm saying. We're looking at symptoms when there's real issues. like we keep talking about the symptoms of what is going on in our school. Oh, the bad teachers, the this, that, and the other. But what if, like I said in the beginning, it's all designed to be that way anyway?
Well, how about this also? How about we're sending a bad product to the school from the get-go? And that's
So we are.
If you talk to 100 teachers, 90% of them, good and bad, are going to say that the issue is not what they're doing. The issue is the product that they're being given to teach.
Oh, absolutely. They'll all say that.
Well, yeah, they're going to teach it. They're going to teach to the test. That's number one. Part of it is we do have to make sure that when we send our kids, I do think that the parents should have a bigger part in their kids' education. I think that's one thing. They should have a bigger part. We need to work together. Like I haven't sent it out yet because school just started yesterday, but I usually send out an email to my kids' teachers and I tell them, hey, listen, I'm here if you need me. I want to support you as you support my kid. But I think that the teachers can't take all of the blame, but in the same token, they can't say that the blame is on the parents too. It has to be a joint effort. It can't just be point here. And while I did say that a lot of times we do have teachers that are not qualified, I stand behind that part. I definitely do. But what I was going back on was saying most of them, or a majority. But there are unqualified teachers. But I think that at the end of the day, we have to go back to the village mentality. Even in the school systems, if we go back to the village mentality where we're all working together for the greater good, which the greater good would be the students, because the students are our future. And we came together, the parents, they made sure that they understood that little Johnny gets in classroom and he shows his behind a lot of times. If we handle that, and we have teachers who care the right amount, then we can, and administrators who support the teachers, then we can make something happen.
I don't disagree. Go ahead, Ron.
No, sir. And I believe wholeheartedly that we do definitely need that. But I think it starts back from, I guess, what Lloyd, I don't know if you said it, because LeBron, one of you guys said it, but how do we fix the product before it gets to the building? Because if we have a bad building, if we have a bad start, we got somebody inequipped to teach the person who's going to the next level. We're just basically taking the original problem, giving it to that kid, and letting the kid take that problem to the next. So how do we fix it? I'm trying to find the best way.
No. You and I and Stephon got to the same place at the same time. We got unqualified parents, so we're gonna have unqualified kids, which means we're gonna have unqualified teachers, because the teacher can only work with the thing that just walked through the door, and I say thing in the general sense of the child that walked through the door, and or the thing being the situation. So if that child's parents are illiterate and they have no ability to help, or they don't value education, is a good chance that child's going to be problematic. Most children in school who are angry and hostile are angry and hostile because they come from a place where they don't understand the system, they're not qualified, or they're not prepared for the system, and they are they got problems themselves, so they perpetuate those problems onto the classroom.
And then the other part of that too, though, Lloyd, is you got the ones that are having the trouble, but what about the ones that the trauma has become so normal that they don't even see that it's a problem, and they're teaching that same trait to their kids to the point their kids don't see it as being a problem.
They've been desensitized.
They've been desensitized to it.
It's not a problem. It's not a problem. I'm telling you, if we're all poor and we're all illiterate and we're all, then none of us are poor and none of us are literate, because there's no value in literacy. If all my friends can't read, we don't have a problem.
But that's the thing. we have to be able, if if malfunction is normal, we have to show them abnormal. Okay, so it's one of those things that it starts
Gus
off.
said he ain't going back to Mississippi. He ain't going back for that. He's not going back to show them that some of that shit is abnormal. He ain't doing it.
I mean,
And I want him to answer the question why, but he won't.
I don't think. Look,
keep
I
cutting
don't
him off.
think Cuz putting any more kids through the system anyway. So, Cuz can coach from the sideline.
He don't want to do that. He said he ain't doing that. Cuz I asked you why you didn't get a chance. We keep cutting you off. Why do you not have an interest at all? You said I don't have an interest at all.
I believe that we're all products of our environment. It is very difficult to be in an environment and not learn from that environment. Some people are able to. Some people may resent it so much that they go the opposite direction. But we've said on here a few times that normal becomes, whatever that norm is, becomes the norm, whether it's dysfunction or not. And to go back to where I come from, my parents did a good job of exposing my brother and I to the outside world, if you will. They didn't allow us to think that Jackson, Mississippi was all there was for us. And therefore, when we both turned 18, we got the hell out of there. Because we knew that there was something more than what we wanted, than what was there for us. So I would never go back to Mississippi to live. Why wouldn't I do it? Because I desire, it may sound offensive, but I don't give a shit. When you work hard to achieve in life, I don't want to dodge a pothole to get home. I don't want to have to stop at the red light and listen to your music louder than my music in my car, even though that happens in other areas. Don't misunderstand that. But it's just the offensiveness that takes place in the dysfunctional environment that I don't have to deal with, and I won't deal with it.
But can I ask the question? How's that any different than black husbands and black wives? How's that any different in being an example in the community? If you shun the community because you don't want to dodge potholes, wouldn't it be more beneficial for you to be a success in the community?
No, not in my opinion. Not everybody can come out, and not everybody is meant to stay. Some people have that mentality that they can stay and fight the good fight. I'm not that person. Period. It's just not who I am. I'm not staying to fight the good fight.
Well, can you at least go back and drive through the street and visit every now and then?
They worked way too hard to put up with some of that bullshit that I know that's taking place back home. No. And your mind becomes, if you will, limited by that environment. For instance, of my high school class graduation, and this is a long time ago, most went to Jackson State. Some went to Alcorn. Maybe one or two went to Mississippi Valley. But we were never exposed to a Howard. We were never exposed to a Princeton. We were never exposed to a Yale. We never even thought of anything like that. No one did. Because we were products of that environment. We were limited by the environment. And you have to acknowledge that limitation in order to correct it. If you think that that's okay, then you just continue to do what everybody else is doing. I never thought it was okay.
But how do you help change the next Cuz Noise who's in that hood, in that neighborhood, and nobody's ever shown them or told them there is a Howard, there is a K-State, there is a Bethune-Cookman. You know, how do they get to see that and hear that from somebody who done it the right way? Because it's to me it's almost easier to hear it coming from somebody who's done it the right way than some of these other folks that we're constantly hearing on TV and on their music and all that. How do you help the next Cuz Noise out of Jackson, Mississippi?
Because maybe your message is get out.
Yeah.
Well, my message has always been get out. Every cousin I have there right now today has heard me say, get out. Some did, some didn't. Some did and some went back.
But how do you prepare them? I think that's what we're all saying. I like what Tara was saying about volunteering. That's what a lot of people do. Maybe you don't go there to stay, but like for example, our sorority, we pick every summer. We have like a Z Pack It Up, and we give school supplies back to the students, and just to see the look on their face. A lot of times, it's like you're doing something. If there's a reading program where you can find ways to give back, I think that's some of the things that we can do. If we don't want to live there, maybe, but we still want to be able to find a way to be an inspiration or an example, we can give back in that way.
How many back to my statement that Mr. Noise found some reason to dislike. I'm from a very large family. And you know how many of our family members we've tried to help over the years, and you get mud thrown right back in your face? Somebody just said in the chat, people have to want to change.
That's right.
And oftentimes, I'm a believer that people will do more of what they see you do versus what they hear you say do. Most people will follow what you have done as an example versus listening to you. We go to church every Sunday and hear the preacher preach and walk up out of there and don't remember nothing he said. But we remember the car he drove. We remember the house he lived in. We remember the houses the teachers lived in. Those examples of excellence.
I think you're arguing both sides, Jay, because by the same token, our financial success needs to be examples in our community, just like our relationship success. It should be interchangeable. So if we need to be an example in our community when it comes to our relationships, we also need to be an example in our communities when it comes to our financial stability, our
mental health,
financial wisdom.
Sister Tara said earlier that not all of Oak Cliff, which is a large area, by the way, not all of Oak Cliff is bad. There are successes in the hood.
Yeah, we never said it wasn't success.
Three examples of success.
Yeah. I don't think we've ever said that it's not success in the hood. We've all said success is in the hood.
Okay, then. So I don't need to take my black ass back there to show off. Don't need to do it. It's there. People don't want to change, or they don't know that they have a problem.
I think they don't know, like you said, they don't know they have the problem because it doesn't look to be a problem anymore because it's so normal.
So if they don't want to change, we should give up on them? Why is that different than a relationship?
That's an excellent question.
You know my answer, Al.
Long time ago. Ben gave up. Everybody you can't help. We want to help everybody, but everybody's not reachable. You help who you can. And that's what I believe about manhood in general. Everybody can't be a Martin Luther King. But what we can do is take care of that within our circle, take care of our families, raise our kids. That we have power over. We asking these Negroes to go out here and be superheroes because your ass wasn't at home to take care of your own kids. No, you need to raise your kids. We need to stop trying to be so much of a community saviors and save the hood and go back to that man and say, listen, brother, your son needs you. Your daughter needs you.
So you say you'll go back to the hood, but not for everybody, just the one guy that'll listen. I guess that's something.
But that's the thing. You don't have to save everybody. If you just save one, that's good enough.
I agree. Each one teach one. I agree.
Because you're not going to save 1,000. You're not going to save a million.
I agree.
But if you can save one, and that one saves one, and that one saves one, and that one saves one, it grows. But you got to be there to want to help them to try to save them. It's hard to save 100 people.
It's hard.
Couldn't even do it.
It's hard to save 10.
I don't think it's as clear and cut dry as just, the two examples that, and not that I'm disagreeing with you guys, but just going back, someone said that there's, I guess, two, there's the ones that don't want to change and the ones that don't see a problem. I don't think it's that clear. I think that, that's correct, but I also think that sometimes people do want better. They want better, but they don't know what better looks like.
Right.
And you could argue the fact that that's them not realizing that there's a problem. But then what about that little boy that dreams of being like, let's say, an astronaut, or dreams of being, the next president? So it's not just those two. You got, and I think that's the problem, is that we put our people, or just people in general, we overgeneralize, and we put people in a bucket, and that fuels the problem, because now we're putting limitations on. We're saying that this is the ceiling here, this is the type that we have, when actuality, there's more. Our little black kids dream. They dream. I dreamed.
That's
the little black boy that dreams, his father didn't, and his father's pushing him to be an athlete and not the lawyer that he wants to be.
Right.
I think they dream as far as what they've been exposed to.
That's the key.
I think that's only partially true.
You can. A lot of these kids have big dreams, man.
Yeah.
I'm talking about they have big. They want to be somebody and do something, but there's a guy.
Again, I think their dream as far as they've been exposed to. You can look at something on TV and say that's what I want to be, but dreaming isn't just going to sleep and seeing something in your mind. Dreaming is actually seeing, how can I obtain this thing, and that's when the dream is either real or it's not.
But you gotta have people.
Go ahead, Pointy.
But you gotta have people to help support your dream, though. You can't dream without people to help support your dream.
I know you SOBs see my finger.
I
know you see it.
I told you to write it down. Go ahead.
Listen, we were talking about parenting earlier and how if you can't do algebra, you can't help them with trigonometry. Listen, the reality is most parents can't do high school homework.
I don't remember anybody saying anything about algebra or trigonometry, but let's keep going.
It was in the chat, but don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah, we was doing physics today now.
But the reality is, it's not so important that you can do the homework. Most people actually hire tutors to help their kids or get somebody to come and help them because they can't do it. But what you are responsible for as a parent is exposing them to something different than what they see every day. That's key. Education is not just in the classroom. Exposure is underrated. And we have to, as parents, take a vacation, take time. Let's go here. Let's go there. If it's nowhere but to the Museum of Art, if it's nowhere but to the wherever in the city, we have to start doing more with them so that they can be exposed to more than that block, that corner, in that town, in that neighborhood.
I mean,
It's huge.
that's true. But if we don't know that, then you can't do it.
How the hell can we not know if we this many years old? We know.
No.
Do we? But do we though?
We take our own vacations. We always on somebody's cruise boat.
No, we take our vacations, but the people that are still there, do they take a vacation?
Hell
I'm
yeah,
going to
they
tell
don't
you
do
right
that
now,
here.
the last vacation I took as a child, I was probably like maybe 6 or 7 years old. That was probably the last vacation I took as a child. So there was my exposure there. But if they don't know any better, they can't do that. But I at the end of the day, I think you're right in some regard that yes, we should, but if we don't know, like we've been trained that there's a ceiling for us. We've been trained that. So how do we know to do this? But you do have those extraordinary examples of these kids who dream. Like, did y'all dream? Because I dreamed. I remember dreaming of being different. And I'm not saying that I was raised in the hood. I wasn't. But I did grow up poor. But I dreamed.
My dreams were erotic. My dream had nothing to do with
Right. You can't use
kind of-
Cuz as an example.
My dreams
That is a terrible example.
were
He
vivid.
fulfilled every single one of them dreams.
Oh Lord. My dreams were vivid. They were vivid dreams. But my dreams were there because I was trying to escape my reality.
Right. I agree with that.
Okay, so how did you obtain your dreams?
I left.
How did you know to leave?
Because there were no, to be honest with you, there weren't the opportunities. I knew that I wouldn't be able to have, somehow, no one told me, but I knew that I wouldn't be able to have what I needed or what I wanted to achieve if I stayed, just because there weren't the opportunities. You guys know what Kentucky was like. Growing up,
something in
black,
you,
something
right,
in me, and
right,
that's why I'm
said,
saying
I
that's
need
not,
this ain't gonna happen here.
right.
Okay, so and then did you save up the resources to go, or how did you make it happen?
Honestly, I didn't, because
You
I
just
didn't know
went.
the plan. I did. I just planned.
Okay,
But you,
all right.
yeah,
So my point is, you had a boldness and a courage to do that, but you are not the rule. You're the exception.
But the problem is,
and that's my point.
we go to church every Sunday and they talk about walk by faith and not by sight. All she did was a faith walk. She believed.
Well, that sounds good on Sunday, but how many people actually walk by faith and not by sight?
That's the problem. We're wasting our time up in the church house because we ain't learning nothing.
But well, that's a whole nother conversation. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying it's a whole nother conversation because a lot of these church houses, we are wasting our time. But my point is,
she believed and she took steps.
Okay, but again, she's the exception and not the rule. Because most people don't dream that way. That's why I asked y'all. I kept saying, "Well, everybody dreams." No, everybody has ideas and likes, but when a dream doesn't become tangible until you put something to it.
Right, and like I said, I still go back to we all had dreams, but you got to have people to help support your dream to get you to go towards your dream.
Not necessarily.
If you don't have somebody helping you push you towards your dream, a lot of people are never going to go to that dream. Because what I wanted to do versus what your family wants you to do, a lot of times people are going to lean towards what their family what their family want them to do before they do for themselves.
The safe route.
But I think that's what Al was trying to say earlier. Al, you correct me if I'm wrong. If nobody ever exposes you to the actual tangible nature of your dream, it's hard to see for a lot of these kids and a lot of families. It's hard to see that dream. It's hard to see it. They can't listen. Jay made it out, but I don't see Jay. I don't know how Jay did it. I just know he don't live here no more. But if Jay comes back and says, "Man, this is what I did,"
Oh, they know how I got out of it. They know how I got out of it.
Who is they? You talking about your family?
The ones that are in the circle, yeah.
Ones in the circle.
I'm not going on the airways and the byways and announcing. I'm just those that knew me knew how I got out.
You muted now.
Why? Why is it a secret? Why is success a secret?
It's not a secret, LB. It's not a secret.
You don't want to write a book? Can't write a book?
We got black folks riding in nicer cars and wearing some of the nicest clothes. We know how to do what we want to do.
That's what Stacy said in the comments. That we know when the new Jordans are coming out. She's right. We know when the new Jordans are coming out.
Yeah, we know.
Yep, it's crazy. But I don't know.
That's not
dreaming. That's surviving.
Dreaming.
That's not that. You can't use that as an example. That's a terrible example.
But we have seen enough examples of success, y'all. We're not in the dark no more.
I don't think we've seen enough examples.
No, that's not true. Nothing what you just said right there is true. That is not true at all.
Come on.
No, what we've seen,
we still don't know.
We've
okay.
not seen
You know what I saw? You know what I saw? You know what I saw? I saw the video of the song that he sang. I saw her shake her hands, and I was like, "Wow, she made it. She's a rapper." But how she got there, I have no idea. How he got there, I have no idea. Do you know how many times Ron and I and Al and you and everybody has to talk to some little boy or some little girl about the path that it takes to get to play just college sports? Forget professional sports, college sports. You know how many times we've talked to them and they say, "Oh, I want to play college ball. I want to play in the NBA." These kids have no idea the path that it takes to get to those places. But they've seen Jordan play. They've seen LeBron play.
They know how to find anything they want on the internet.
Not necessarily.
They don't.
Necessarily.
You think they do.
I think
they
that's it's kind of it's a bit of an assumption. Most of them probably do, or we'll say some of them do, but not all of them even think to do that. But the thing is that we're always going to need to share this information. One, because people are continually being born.
Well,
right?
And we keep talking, do they know how to find financial success, or do they know how to find success? Because
Right.
not all success is financial success.
Exactly. Success looks different to everyone. You know, there was a video I saw today, I think it was, this morning. A father was quizzing his little black son on the market, the stock market. And I was I think I shared it on my page. I was like, "Oh my gosh." He's like, and what is this? And what is an entrepreneur? And what is, and he was just going down this list. And this little kid, he was probably like maybe 5 or 6 years old, was giving him answers. And I'm like, that's it. That's what we need to do. Sometimes we can't do that though. Sometimes the parent can't do it. And that's why we can't say that everybody knows and that that's the only reason, right? Because the parent doesn't know. And I think it just becomes too cut and dry when we do that. And we get away from the grace. I think we have to keep in mind that if we want grace, we got to show grace. How that looks, it's different to everyone, right?
Right.
And not only that, I don't know if our kids know, and Ron, you know this because you got 2 boys playing sports right now. They want to be great, right? In this sport. They want to be great. But then when you break them down and say, okay, your greatness starts right here. And then you show them this mundane activity that they must master in order to go to the next activity, in order to go to the next activity, in order to go to they don't understand that. They like, well, no, man. You know, Bill Cosby, I'm gonna say Cliff Huxtable. He has one of the greatest stories. He has one of the greatest stories on one of the episodes that I think is that I've ever heard, and I love that story. And one of his daughters, I think it was Vanessa, her and her little group, they wanted to be a singing group. He said, "I know exactly what you're talking about." He said, "I wanted to be a drummer." And I went to the man to teach me how to drum. And I said, hey, man, teach me how to drum because I want to play like Art Blakely. And I want to go back. And he said, I understand exactly what you're looking for, son. And he took the drum away from me and gave me a block and said, do this. Pap, 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 pap. He said, no, man, you don't understand. I want to go. He said, I know. But in order to get to that, you got to start with pap, pap. Our kids do not understand that. They don't get conceptually that it starts with a free throw, that it starts with running laps around the football field, that it starts with getting in a batting cage or shagging fly balls. Now, let's go even further. Like what Tara said, they don't see that I got a master science class, that I got to do algebra, that I got to understand what it takes so I can get into the medical field. They don't see it. And we're not enough of us are sharing that information and saying this is going to be a long journey, but you can do it. So it does not ever become an actual dream. It just becomes something I know I like.
And the one success, one or two successes that we teach heavily to our kids, and I ain't saying we as on her, we'll teach them how to become entertainers. Because we see that as the fastest way of getting out. How many times have you ever seen, like Tara said, we spend time teaching them how to be programmers, teach them how to be doctors, teach them how to be lawyers, teach them true entrepreneurship. But we'll wake a kid up 5 o'clock in the morning and they'll have his ass on that basketball court every day.
Yep.
That's what that whole thing was about this weekend, Ron. Fathers trying to live vicariously through their kids and feeling like a referee is cheating them out of the game, which ultimately means you're cheating them out of their opportunity, which ultimately means he could never make it to college and never make it to the pros, all because of this one play, this one preseason don't even count play, is costing them a lifetime of success and their way out of the hood. That sounds asinine and crazy to think that, but that's how some of these fathers think.
And the father thinks that because his father taught him that.
His father taught him that.
His father before him taught him that. It's this that trauma became normal.
I was going to say this is kind of off the subject, but kind of on at the same time, because, we were talking about our kids nowadays don't understand basically what hard work is.
Mm-hmm.
We have to reiterate that an overnight success is 10 years in the making.
Oh, absolutely. No, that's spot on. That's spot on the subject. That's the point. That is actually the point that I'm making. You just said it better. I'll never forget somebody said that to some singer. I can't remember who it was. They were talking to some singer, and they said, "Man, you're an overnight success." And I think the singer said, "Damn, that was a long ass night."
It's funny, Lloyd. One of your favorite friends told me that in high school.
Oh yeah.
Yep. One of our favorite principals told me that in high school.
Oh, I can believe that.
Listen,
my kids right now are learning what it takes, and they're like, "Dad, really? Like, this is what it takes. If you want this, this is what you got to do to get it. And no, this is not easy. It is not for the faint at heart. But guess what? There is no other path to it."
Yep.
So that's why Jay Joyner got to tell the story. Now, here's the thing no, listen, Jay Joyner, you lazy, bro. Me and you gonna have to, we got to, you know what I'm saying? When I get back to Texas. I understand what you're saying about your circle. I get that part, and I think that is a critical part of it. But I mean, you can't once a year go to Jackson and be like, "Hey man, I got something to say." Is that a personality thing, or is it just you don't see the value in it?
I don't see the value.
That's interesting to me, Jay Joyner.
We
value in you or value in others?
We believed we had such high hopes.
Okay.
Did you get it? Oh.
No. You keep flying like you know.
Well, you know them Arkansas flies, they strong.
We believe when Barack Obama was running for president and got the nomination and won, that was going to change us. We were going to be able to see what's possible.
But we did, didn't we? I mean, to some regard, we did it.
A lot of us saw the possibility.
And did we see? I mean, now we have.
I just don't think Jay like group change. He don't like group change. He likes singular one-on-one change.
I don't think group change is real.
That's what it all comes down to.
Well,
and by the way, may not be.
There's 300 little boys that saw President Obama, and 300 of them changed. You want to call them 300 individuals, or you want to call it one big ass group? There was 300 black boys that changed.
Folks kill me in their denominations and in their churches, thinking that everybody up in there is holy. That's group thinking. It ain't real.
But I'm gonna say this. This is probably gonna be. I ain't gonna say it. I ain't gonna say it.
No, say it. You might as well say it. Your pastor's saying stuff. You might as well.
You can still expect the best, though, whether they are or not. You can still expect the best, right?
I don't disagree. Yeah.
Whether they are or whether they're not. I mean, that comes with discernment, but you can still hope for the best.
That's true.
If your glass is half full, then you're gonna expect it because you know how you're supposed to live, how you should live if you want to be, according to Christ, right?
Right.
So whether they are or not, until they show you differently, you could hope and you could expect that they are holding. You have to keep in mind, though, the reality is that they're human. They're not going to do everything perfect or right.
Correct.
But you can still expect it.
Yeah, you're right.
I think there's the group thing. The only reason I'm not saying that group think works. That's because that's not where I was going, and that's not even why I'm even bringing it up. Because I already knew. I've been knowing you for years, so I knew what your answer was going to be. But the reason why I bring up the whole concept of it is because I think we dismiss it faster than we maybe should. Because what we're trying to do, I know that when I speak to 5,000, 5 probably heard me. Probably. Or 50.
No, I agree. I think more heard you, but to put it into action, but
that's my point. No, you and I are saying the same thing. Okay. Let's say 500 heard me. Let's say 50 put it into action. Let's say 5 get to the destination.
Okay.
So now we got to ask ourselves, is there value in that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that's where
absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because at least one. If one heard you, or if 500 heard you, but the 5 were listening, and those 5 are the ones who applied it, the whole purpose is if you meet just one, right? If you help just one person, then you've done what you're supposed to do.
If you're measuring your success on the fact that 500 out of that 500 that you talked to made it, you're never going to be successful.
Correct.
I think the danger of worrying about how you present it is the obsession with the result.
I agree.
And I think that's what my frustration, but my challenge with Jay, because Jay, this ain't the first time he and I have had this conversation. So my challenge is always been, what does it matter? The bottom line is we want to see change in these schools, in these hoods, with these fathers or whatever. So if I get 5 guys at the barbershop or I get 50 guys at a church, they need to, if I got the opportunity to give them the message, I give them the message. What difference does it make? As long as somebody heard it.
I'm always trying to help a young man that comes in or comes close to my circle. I'm always doing that.
Very true.
I have my nephew in my house right now, ninja living free of charge, eating up all my groceries. And I spend time with him every day to talk to him, to teach him, to train him. Let's go, boy. Let's get out here in this yard. Let's get this yard worked out. I'm constantly trying to set an example for him. My brother-in-law brought his friend's son from Jamaica for the summer. I'm taking both of them out this weekend to expose them to stuff and to talk to them and to constantly try to reach a young black boy. I believe in that. What I don't believe in is
joining the NAACP and being a guest speaker.
I don't need a stage to be effective.
Okay.
I absolutely. I just don't. I don't believe I do. I don't want a stage. I want to meet you one-on-one.
Okay, so it's the method for you.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the method.
Too many people, especially black folks. That's why we got so many preachers. Everybody want a damn stage. Everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to be heard.
I'm with that.
Which is part of why and you know how I feel about this. I was reluctant to do the podcast because
right.
I don't need a stage. I'm very effective within my circle, and more of us need to be effective and stop looking for the bright lights and the accolades and the praise.
I like. That's where I was trying to get you to. You took you for like 45 minutes to get there, but that. It's not that you don't want to do the work. It's that you don't need the bright lights or the microphone. That's what he's saying. Okay.
Don't even want it. No.
Right. And by the way, I don't disagree with that because I think I like what Tara said and I like what Jay just said. I think there are not enough of us that are making the actual tangible investment into something that's a little bit more long term. Anybody can do a one-off. But how many of us are saying, I'm going to walk with this kid for the next 2-3 years and see where we can get him?
Behind the scenes.
I'm going to walk with this family, this father, this young father, and see if I can help him to see kind of, some things a little bit differently, maybe to dream a little bit differently. Maybe I can help him to be an example for him. What's funny, Al, and I know you'll appreciate this having been a youth pastor for so long as well. My greatest effectiveness with the young people was not when I was teaching any Bible study. It was when I would invite them to my house, and Kayetta and I would have them sit in the house with us, and they would watch us interact and watch us, live and exist and be an example to them on a day-to-day basis. That was when we saw the whole youth ministry turn, when they saw how real it was, that it wasn't just a Sunday morning thing, but that it was a real thing. It was a tangible thing that they could touch and feel and experience, and they could ask. That's when I started getting the questions. How do you do that? How do you not get upset with Sister Kayetta? How do you not do this? How do you deal with this situation? And I still get those calls today. Hey, man, when y'all argue, how do you deal with that? How do you get past that? I think that's the nature of the shift that has to take place in our communities. Now there will be some grand gestures that we will do. We will build a group thing where, and sometimes you got to do the group event because damn it, they ain't coming no other way. They're not gonna get exposed no other way. So you got to have some of that. I think there's a balance to it all. But as much as we need events, we need more mentors. We need more experience. Yeah.
And probably, I'm sorry, just right quick. Probably one of the reasons why I dislike the stage so much. It's part of my personality. But most preachers, if you talk to your pastor, most pastors don't like being pastors because they preach to the same people Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, and there's very little change in their lives.
It is a very frustrating thing if you believe in the results. If you believe that there should be results,
Well, Sister Sally shouldn't have been in my church for 30 years. And now that it comes time to bury Sister Sally, we got to raise money to bury Sister Sally because she never figured it out. All of this teaching, all of this victory, all of this faith walk that I've been teaching, and nothing changed in her life.
But that's not an unlikely thing, though. That's the part that I'm trying to get you guys to understand. It is more likely that that's going to be the reality than it is that everybody catches the fire unless somebody physically walks with them. I'll give you a perfect example. When I first started singing, we had a sister in our church. I won't say her name publicly because I'm sure this would get back to her. But we had a sister in our church. She played by reading the music. She reads music, and she could play pretty much anything you said in front of her. At the time, I couldn't play like that. I couldn't play anything when I was 7 or 8 years old, but I was fascinated that she could play anything you said in front of her. As time went on, I started being able to play what you could set in front of me, but also more so by ear. Then all of a sudden, I started playing more by ear than what you could sit in front of me, and I understood jazz, what we call jazz notations. And so I could play a jazz chart or a music chart or the Nashville system chart. And so I would come and I'd say, why don't you play with me? No, I can't. I don't want to play with you. You go ahead and play. It wasn't that she didn't want to play with me. She couldn't play with me. She never, ever got past just being able to sit something in front of her and be able to read it and play it. And by the way, it couldn't be very complicated. It needed to be hymn-based and very simplistic. It couldn't be complicated because if it was complicated, she couldn't play it on the spot. She never sharpened that tool in her box, ever. And never asked me to help her to try to learn better because that's too much. Now, I never asked either. Of course, I didn't live here the whole time, but I lived near her the whole time. I probably just gave it away, but that's fine. We just never built up that. And she was a wonderful lady, but she never got that skill. I think people have to be walked with, and we got to build relationships with them if we want to see true effective change.
I agree.
Going forward. And so there is a lot of truth. I know some of us might be like, well, what the circle thing that Jay's talking about? Well, you got to decide if you want people who you want in your circle. Yeah. And then once you put them in your circle, then you say, okay, well, let's do life together. And let's figure this thing out.
Yeah, I don't think the circle's the problem. Kind of back to Sister Sally. I know you said, she was in a church, not using Sister Sally, but she was in the
Sally's
church 30
good.
years.
Sally's good.
Sally, yeah, 30 years, and she passed, and they had to do a fundraiser to bury Sister Sally. But I think Sister Sally, the fact that she was there 30 years, what you did for her with preaching to her on Sundays was her changing her life. That's what she was there for. Yeah, she didn't get the insurance, but the fact that you still helped her by teaching her the word, preaching her the word, making her feel and getting closer to God, coming there for 30 years every Sunday, to me, that was your success. That would have been that. To me, that's that pastor's success. Even though he may think it's not because he had to pay for her funeral. Dude, that's nothing. The fact that you got her closer to where she needed to be, that is more successful than anything you could ever do for that woman.
You sound like a religious person.
I don't like talking about religion. I don't do religion.
You sound like one right now.
Nah.
But it's true. I mean, he helped her to be a faithful servant. But then you have to look at the other side. Did the pastor talk about investing in the pulpit? Did he say, look at that? I mean, some do, some don't.
Well, it's not just about the money. I
understand, and I understand, but I'm just giving an example of what is it that we're always talking about. Like, when the pastor's talking about the word, is he using it in everyday application of how life is? Right. Or is it just one of those exciting, things where and well done. You know what I mean?
She hit that I heard it. Al, one of the things
I just don't like only thing I didn't like about that was, he didn't, the way he felt about his success. I think it was that part of it, because to me, you got to closer to God, and that's the success.
Right. He was doing something to help win souls to Christ. Right. That
Oh,
was
head on, Ron. You gonna be a preaching career here soon.
Hell to the no. I know where I'm going.
One of the things I'm looking forward to doing when I touch back down in Louisville this next time is sneaking over Sunday to Greater St. Mark with you, because I got to meet this dude that's been pastoring you the last 20 years. He said 20 years. You muted out.
Said longer than that.
Longer than that. And the reason why 96. I say that, you said 96 is 96?
It's 96.
Wow. And the reason why I say that is because we just saw the video yesterday of the pastor that's saying, I need the Movado watch. Y'all playing. Y'all broke, busted, and disgusting. I need my Movado watch. and that's light. That Movado watch, he don't even understand the game yet. Because we got brothers out here asking for helicopters.
Private jets.
And G6s. So he need to get his weight up. You don't even understand how the game is played yet. But then you got a guy who don't ask for nothing. But all he asks for is for you to come and be the best version of yourself, and to give of your time and your talent and your treasure, and the treasure is only just to help us to continue to do the work and to touch the community. That's just genuine, man. What used to be more, or at least it seemed like it was. Maybe it never was. I don't know. But what seemed to be more normal now is a rarity. It's like finding a unicorn or a diamond. So I just want to come see that diamond. Well, and I want other young men to be mentored by that diamond. I'm sorry.
You don't have to wait till Sundays. He's there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday.
Oh, even better.
He's packing boxes and carrying groceries to cars like everybody else. So he's there 4 days a week.
That's what makes that so unique to me, man, because we got to get guys back to that. And not on the stage. I don't care. Listen, if my pastor, if never preached about Beyonce and what she was singing about, I'd be okay with that. I really don't need you to judge the music I listen to. I'll figure it out. But tell me how I can be a better person. Tell me how I can touch people. Tell me, point me in the direction. Matter of fact, create a lane. That's what I'm saying when I say we got to do better with helping with the trauma, and we got to have places who want to do that. And we don't have it. Think about the plurality, guys, that our churches cannot be trusted as a whole to help with the trauma in the very neighborhoods they're preaching in. That's a scary thought, man. That's a scary thought.
What 4 days were those out, you said?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday.
I work on those days, so I can't make it.
You can make it.
Monday nights are football nights, so I can't mess around on Monday night.
Stephon said, why do we expect black pastors to be teachers and leaders outside of the church? My priest isn't my life coach. He's just my priest. He gives me the word, and that's all I expect of him. So by the fact that you said priest means you're probably Catholic by nature, and that's fine. What I'll say to you, Stephon, is the reason why we expect them to be our teachers and leaders, because that's what they've always been. It's not that we expect it, they set the expectation. It's always been that way. I can't think of a time in my life where it hasn't been that way.
Hey, goes back to that normacy. Should it have been?
Should it have been? Maybe not in the way that it was presented, because over time it was presented as something of a professional thing, and it became more standard than it probably should have been, that this is the model by which we should be following. And that's one of the reasons why, again, I'm bragging on, I know I brag on Al's pastor quite a bit, like I attend the church, even though I don't. But I never hear you talking about that your pastor is your example. I hear you talking about he's your pastor. Whereas in most churches, the pastor is the spotlight. Like Cuz said, he's the beaming spotlight that we all are supposed to be drawn to, like moths to a flame.
Now, I'll say this: I do see him as an example to live by. He is a wonderful husband. He is a wonderful servant. He is a wonderful leader, father. So I do see him as an example, but he equips me to be a free thinker. He and I can have conversations, scripture-based, biblical-based, religious-based, and not agree, because he equipped me to be a free thinker, not a follower of him, but a follower of Christ.
That's what I meant. And I think when I say example, I used the wrong word. I absolutely used the wrong word.
I want to be one of his disciples.
Yeah.
He
walk in the newness of life.
Oh, he's a great man to.
But the fact that you just said that's a rarity, because most guys don't want you to follow Christ. They want you to follow them.
No.
That's what I mean by example. They want to be the light of that church. Matter of fact, I heard a guy tell me one time, he asked a mega pastor, he said, "Whose church is this?" He said, "It's mine." And that's what he said. He got up and walked out the church. But that probably is the answer of most pastors. It's my church. This is my church.
And to answer Stefan, we kind of view things in a hierarchy. There's God, and then there's Jesus, and then there's the under shepherd. And we see, and our pastor is our under shepherd. So that's the next best thing in our eyes, in our spiritual eyes, the next best thing to Christ. So that's why we look up to them and elevate them. Unfortunately, we put them on a pedestal, and we kind of glance at them as though they are a symbol of perfection. And when we see their flaws and their imperfections, instead of understanding that they are just a man or a woman, we lose faith and hope in the church, and without fully understanding that that's just a building.
You know why that's such a great example? Because pedestals they don't have great width. So the ability to stand on a pedestal for long periods of time without ever stumbling or falling off the pedestal is not realistic to think that you can. But yet we continually keep putting men and women of faith on pedestals, expecting them to stand there and do well on that pedestal. Now, the problem is they don't have any room to move around. They don't have any wiggle room whatsoever. And they're limited in their scope of thing. We would rather have the figurehead of the example than an actual living, breathing example that has flaw, that has not questionable character. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about just somebody that may not be as perfect in every way as the pedestal placed person that we have. Which goes back to what Ron said. It feeds back into that trauma that we've created within ourselves.
Vicious circle, man.
It's a vicious circle, man. And I don't know how we break it. That's the question. I don't know how we break this.
You break it by expanding it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You expand it enough, it's going to pop. Which, takes me back to my level of frustration right now is I understand what Jay is saying about he's an example in his circle, but we need to extend beyond our circle if we want to thrive as a community. That's why our success as a community, as a culture, is so slow. And I admire Jay for being that example in his circle. But, I'm related to some successful black folk, but not once have they extended themselves to say, "Hey, here's what you need to do." You know, so we need to extend our circles. And you know, unfortunately, Miss Sally probably wasn't a member of anybody's circle.
I'm nodding because Miss Patrice has to go. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
You filled in admirably and above the honor Call of Duty for Mama Noise, and I'm sure she is very, very grateful.
And we can
thank
actually
you
say
so
you
much
wasn't
for having me. Thank you, and tell her I hope she feels better. I'll check in on her. I'll try to check in on her. I'll see you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Unfortunately, Sister Sally may not have been in anybody's circle, and no one ever equipped her on how to take that $7,000 policy that she got from her husband and invest that, you know. So
turn into something greater. I think that's expanding our circles should be a part of our agenda. Although I do understand even the difficulty of that sometimes, because the reality is, man, I don't know, man. We've done so much damage in our communities that sometimes you don't just want everybody in your house.
Right. But you know, I see you out here buying properties and flipping them and renting them and selling them and I see that. But you know, you've never offered to say, "Hey, here, take this 50,000 you got, and this is how you get started." Nobody's ever said that.
Wow.
So, Lord, you also
I'm just using that as an example. You know what I mean?
You know, Al said, you got to make the bubble burst, but I think you got to start sliding in new norms.
Yeah.
Well, we said that about an hour and a half ago.
Yeah. Is the responsibility of expansion of the circle on the person that wants to know or the person that knows? So, in other words, Jay, I'm coming to you first with this question. If someone outside of your circle was to come to you and say, "Jay, I've been watching you and watching how you move for the last 5 to 10 years, and I want to know, what do I need to do? How do I do this?" How you seem to have some answers that I'm looking for. What would your response be to that?
I do that all the time.
I didn't ask you if you did it all the time, nigga. I said, what's your response?
I do it all the time, so the response is yes. I help.
Okay,
so it is extended beyond your circle.
I don't. I'll be. Let me make sure I'm clear about my circle. I want there to be no confusion. My circle is my family. Now, anyone else I could bless outside of that wants to learn something, that comes to me and has a desire, if I see desire in you, then I'm more than willing to help. My nephew thanks me all the time. Thank you guys so much. I say, listen, man. As long as we see you're trying, we're willing to help. But you have to show some effort.
Right.
What I'm not going to do is go out there and pour my heart out and my resources and my time for a bunch of ninjas that don't recognize that a change is needed. I ain't doing it.
So let's stay there as on this last part of the show, because that's an interesting statement and an interesting sentiment. How do we get everybody to the table? How do we get the people to recognize the necessity of the information that they need? And then likewise, how do we get people who have the information to want to come to the table and not feel like they're casting their pearls before swine? That's an old scripture, Ron.
I know what it was.
Okay.
I know what it was.
I had to mess with Ron a little bit. But you understand what I'm saying? Like, because full disclosure, over the years, I've had so many people ask me, Mr. Spence, or Pastor Lloyd or whatever, can you help? You teach me how to play the piano? And most of the time, my answer is the same: no. I cannot teach you how to play piano. I won't teach you how to play piano. Now, there have been 4 people that have come to me and said, I want to learn how to play piano, and I want you to show me what you know. I taught all 4 of them. 3 of them played. And the 4th one played for years. And I think the only reason she stopped is because her mom got sick and it kind of just derailed her ability to stay with it. But the other 3, they stuck with it. Now you saying, well, what was the difference? Because they said they came to me and said, I want to know what you want to know. I'm willing to put the time in. I'm willing to do the things. And that desire that Jay was talking about. I don't know if it was so it brings me back to this. How do we get them to the table? I don't know. Do we set the table? Or we set the example loud enough to where they see it and then wait for the ones that want to come? I mean, how does it work? Because I don't know. At this point, I really don't know.
To me, you treat it like a picnic. What happened once you put the food out?
Say that again.
Them niggas come.
Say that again. Say that again so everybody can hear you. People in the back.
Treat it like a picnic. Once you put that food out, what do? They gonna come. But you gotta show them that there's something out there.
Treat it like a picnic. Put the food out and see what happens.
Because the ones who want it, they're gonna come eat.
How long do we stay at the picnic though?
Now, see, that's your problem. That's gonna be the question. Because it could be a very long picnic. And the reason I said that, I didn't. In order for me to get to where I was at, they put the food out, and they told me, if you want it, go figure it out, go get it, and you'll get where you need to get to. And once you get there, we'll show you what you want. Once you get there,
can I
have to want to get there?
Can I give an example of what Ron just said? A great example of what Ron just said. I just heard this song on the radio here in Arkansas. I don't know if the guy is from Arkansas or where it is, but the artist's name is Jay Howell, and the song is called Faithful. And here's some of the lyrics that he said. He says, please don't let it go too far, because I don't want to give up. I'm so tired of being faithful to you. I'm going to do you wrong, baby. I'm so tired of being faithful to you. I'm going to do you wrong, baby. I'm going to do you wrong. So they basically saying, I'm going to cheat on you. I've decided I'm tired of being faithful to you. I'm going to cheat on you. This is where we are right now. So we've gone from Forever My Lady and Please Don't Go Away From Me. I'm cheating on your ass. I'm tired of being faithful.
Damn.
I guess my point is, if we're gonna set the picnic up, man, we gotta put the right food out there.
And the right food might not be soul food. You might have to span your palate. Might not be ribs and brisket and chicken. It might just be fish.
Well, and then Stefan says, Oprah goes, she don't go to the hood, but she'll go to Spelman. Maybe that's maybe that's what we get. This is a hard question. Because where we set the picnic up at?
In her case, her picnic is at Spelman. She's putting it out there.
Does it matter where we set the picnic up at, Ron?
No.
Cuz, Al?
If they want it, they're going to come. You on mute, cuz.
Yeah, hell yeah, it matters. Hell yeah. For the most part now. This is for the most part. Oprah wouldn't make it in the hood.
Say again?
Oprah wouldn't make it in the hood. Because what she has to say to the hood, it's not necessarily what the hood wants to hear.
What does she have to say? What's her message?
There are certain people that can go to the hood and speak to the hood, and the hood would applaud because they're speaking what they want to hear.
But I think that's
But if I'm talking to you about self and what self has to do to correct self situation, self don't want to hear that shit.
But I think that's what we're talking about. You got to change the norm. You need her potentially to go to the hood to point out in a professional way, a nice way, what those new norms need to be and how to get off of those old norms. Because she came from those old norms. But if we don't start changing those old norms, we're not going to change what's currently happening to these kids out there today.
Is she the right person?
I'm not saying she's the right person. I'm just saying that you got to find somebody that can have that conversation.
Nope, she's not the right person. The most successful black person in America is not the right person to speak to people in the hood. Generally, now, I don't mean all, because there are plenty of people that would love to hear from her. Absolutely. But generally speaking, she would be booed off stage if she got there talking that bullshit. What you here talking to us and you're not gonna blame nobody? You gonna blame us? You gonna say that we are the problem? No, they don't.
Right.
And those are the people who said that and walk away and leave. Deuces. I want if 300 people in that building and Oprah got 10 of them and the other 290 left.
Yeah, bro, but Black Twitter will be attacking her. I mean, they'd be all on her. I mean,
and she would buy Black Twitter and shut that son of a bitch down, and they ain't gonna say shit with Black Twitter.
We could be some very revengeful people when we disagree with you. We just we attack.
We are, and that's usually 98% of our problem. But she could buy Black Twitter if she really wanted to.
She should buy Black Twitter.
Shut it down. Ain't no more Black Twitter.
Mr. Popcorn, you gonna show us the front door?
Oh God, it's late night now. Let's see. Hold on.
Yeah, you can't come on here bragging about the front door and then not show it to us.
I did not brag.
You did not.
It was a humble brag, but it was a brag. It's okay. Somebody's mad at you.
Yeah.
Hold on. Close that door and turn the foyer light on.
Please, Lord, you close the door.
That's an iron door.
Close that door.
Oh, that is a nice door. Man, that is a nice door.
Hold on. He turned the lights out. I don't know why he turned the lights out.
No, we can see it.
Yeah, so.
And your outside door is iron?
Yeah, the whole everything is iron. The whole thing is iron.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a nice door.
Yeah.
That's an expensive door.
Huh?
That's a very expensive door.
Actually, it's not that much as expensive as you would think. It's actually, that door was cheaper than me buying a door from Home Depot. But I had it built in China. So it's really not, it's just the knowledge of how to get things done. That's all.
Wow.
So it's really the shipping and handling that you pay for.
Yeah, so for the entire thing, getting it from China, getting it built and everything, you're talking about $4,700, and that's for the storm door, the frame, everything. Whereas if I
That's
was
not
to have a wood door built with the arch on it, it would have cost me $4,700 for a plank of wood.
That's
You
not
do realize that most people aren't paying $4,700 for a door, right?
That's not true. That's not true.
doors are expensive.
That's
Outside
not
doors.
true. That's about the average cost.
In the hood,
Well,
See,
most people are
your
accepting.
mentality
Most people are
of the
accepting-
hood is wrong.
Most people are accepting the door that's presented to them.
No, Lloyd, how much do you think the door with the bars are?
Oh, I know it's expensive, but I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
What?
I'm saying most people won't invest in a door.
But the
In
door
the
can
hood.
raise the value of your house $10,000 by itself.
yeah, it's a nice door.
I know that.
I like it.
Everybody on here knows that. I'm saying to you, when people look at that door, they see money that they don't have to spend on a door.
Until I educate them that that's not the case. You see what I'm saying? That's the thing. How much is that door, Alan?
It looks like a normal. Hang on, my bad.
Doors are expensive.
Yeah, there you go. That looks like just your normal entry door
Mm-hmm.
with side lights.
Right.
$6,700, Lloyd.
Yeah. They're expensive.
$6,100. I'm sorry.
So that's the thing. Is when I enlighten them on another way of doing things, and I enlighten them another way to access things that we normally can't access, people move.
No, I don't disagree with anything you're saying. What I'm highlighting is the fact that is a massive shift in philosophy in our hoods to be able to say, I see this door as something I need for my community because of what it is, not just the fact that it is a good door for my house, but it's also image-wise, it sends a very different message than the message of the bars on the door.
So
that's a whole mentality shift.
Well, yeah, but
I love it, by the way.
Yeah, so that's the thing that my wife and I are pretty much leaning into. The problem.
By the way, Dr. Smith wants the information on the door.
Oh, she know, of course.
What up, Dr. Smith? We're gonna get you that information.
Of course. Tell her just hit me and I'll send her the link. But
you just told her.
So here's the thing, Lloyd, is that one thing that we found out about the hood is the problem with the hood is most of us don't own the properties in the hood. We're renting.
That's right. And
that is the main mentality shift that we have to change. When you walk out of your front door and you pay a mortgage, you feel a different way than when you pay rent.
Agreed.
So that's one of the things that we're aiming to change is that mentality. Because like on our block, everyone they're all pretty much everybody on my block owns their home just about. And I mean own it. They're not paying mortgage. We're like one of the youngest families on the block. And I'm 47, so go figure.
But I think I think that was actually the point that we were trying to make. And right before you walk back in, that's what Ron was saying. If we're going to change the mentality of the hood, we've got to set up a picnic in front of the hood and say, come eat and find out how to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they come and get the information and want to do it. Now, everybody's not going to want it, but the ones that want it, we need to provide it for them.
And the ones that want it, it's like, how they say birds of a feather flock together? The ones that want it, they're going to find you and they're going to take the steps. one thing that I've found out is I don't waste my time on the ones that don't want it. A lot of times we spend unnecessary time on someone that doesn't want to change.
Right.
And I've come to the conclusion, if God can't change you, who am I to try to do it?
Right.
You know?
We need to, maybe, I don't know how I'm going to phrase that, but we need to definitely talk about the left behind. What does that look like? What is the left behind? And who are we leaving behind?
Are we leaving anyone behind? That's the question.
We absolutely leaving behind.
You're not.
There's no way to do this without leaving them behind. Somebody behind.
Here's the thing: you're not leaving them behind, Lloyd. They're leaving themselves behind.
They're deciding to be behind. You're not leaving anyone behind.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what y'all saying. But y'all know it ain't gonna be received that way.
It ain't gonna be received that way. But if I put my hand out to help you cross the street, because your ass is blind and you can't see to cross that street, I keep offering and you keep saying no. Your ass is gonna stay on that side of the street over.
Yeah, better example. You're drowning. You're literally drowning. And I say, oh, just give me a hand. No, I can't hold your hand. I'm drowning. What? You're drowning. I can pull you out. I know how to pull you out.
And you I think we have to come to the exception that it's a cruel reality, but there's going to be some casualties of war.
That's what I said.
And the thing is, and some people they like that and they're okay with that. There are people who are okay with that. Yeah.
I'm not okay with it, but I think I gotta accept it. Are y'all okay with it? Because Al, LeBaron, Ron, are y'all okay with the casualties?
I'm not okay with it, but it's a part of life. I have to accept it.
I'm not saying that. Well, y'all know my stance on it. Do I want to see it happen? No. But if somebody wants to stay, I cannot force them to go somewhere else. If I try and they still want to stay, I only can do so much. I'm not going to sit there and die with you.
What was that they said that Harriet Tubman had to shoot some of the slaves?
I don't know. I heard she had to shoot them, but I did hear her say she couldn't free everybody because they didn't know they were slaves.
Exactly, and you got people that's going to have that same mentality. They don't feel that there's a problem, so they're not going to change. They're not going to leave.
Yeah.
So,
Al, are you okay with it? Cuz you okay with it?
I don't think you can be okay with it. That's what I'm saying.
I want to hear him answer. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I'm not, because unfortunately there's way more individuals who don't even fully grasp their circumstance, let alone understand how to get out of their circumstance. So the casualties are going to be numerous. I think we should take on the mentality of the ARNY, no man left behind. Whether he's dead weight, whatever the case may be, he needs to come home, come along as well. So I think we can't afford to accept collateral damage or casualties or whatever the term we're going to use. Not if we want to elevate as a community in at large, instead of just pockets here and there. So
yeah, I just think it's hard, Al. I think it's hard to get.
Of course, it's going to be hard.
And like even the that one place that one guy was in.
And you're not going to get them all. I'm not foolish enough to think that you are, but I'm just saying we can't nonchalantly have that flippant attitude that, those that want to will, those that don't won't, fuck them. We can't have
I mean, like I said earlier, if I constantly keep trying, at some point I can't. I only can try so long until I got to move to the next person and try to help the next person.
And
I can't get stuck on that one person
Right, right. And here's the thing, Ron. I may not be the one to reach you. I have to be able to reach the ones that I can reach. Lloyd can reach someone that I cannot reach. You see what I'm saying? So I cannot sit here and waste time on someone that I am not reaching when there are several that I can reach.
Cuz, are you on board with this, that there's going to be casualties, or because we only got like 2 minutes left?
Well, I don't want to be flippant, but I don't give a damn.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means. What do you mean by that?
I don't care about the casualties. Listen, you can't even if you have a heart to help people and you really want to help people, you can't leave. Excuse me. You can't lose sleep over those that are unreachable. You cannot allow that to affect you, because this is a, as my mama said, son, are you sure you want to help black people? Because it's not an easy thing to do. The very people that you're trying to help will end up attacking you verbally. I mean, so I have no problems leaving ninjas behind. You have to want it, man. You have to want it. And if you don't want it, then you won't ever get it. I have zero problem with that.
I can't want it more than you do.
Nope.
We lose. Oh.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, no, the computer did something weird. I had to reset. It's a fascinating situation, my brothers. What are we going to become?
I'll tell you one thing. I want to say this so I can end it on a good note. I know from where I sit and where I'm at in the community that we're in, I am seeing I'm seeing silver lining. You know, the future is promising.
I like
so,
it.
You know, so it's like
I don't know where you're looking, but I'm glad you're looking there.
I mean, I'm saying from the community in which I reside, I'm seeing the fruits of our labor. You see what I'm saying?
I got you, brother. I got you. Yeah.
We just said Mississippi was at the bottom, and you come in with this kind of energy. Just said it.
Yeah,
you're at the bottom looking up, and you got the nerve to have to say something about somebody. Shame on you, Jay Joyner.
And it's like our neighborhood. That's like our neighborhood. 10 years ago, we were the only probably black family in this neighborhood. Now there's like 5 or 6 of us. So I mean,
we're moving on up.
It's happening. I mean, and everybody over here buying, and they're buying their stuff over here as well. So I mean, it's feasible. It's happening. People can see it. So I mean, it's a good thing.
And we have to be proud of the small things. Like this year, they just put artificial turf on the football field at the school, jumbotron and everything. You know what I'm saying? I am looking at the blessing that you'll probably see my logo on that jumbotron. You see what I'm saying? Like, it seems small, right? But that's something major, because for me, that's a major representation to some young child out there on a field. Their story is Mr. Burton. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Burton and Mrs. Burton had a business in our community. They supported the football team. They supported the basketball team. You understand what I'm saying? It's, to me, that it's that trend that you're starting that we didn't always have in our communities. It was robbed of us in our community.
Yeah,
I saw that in the white community that I grew up in, but it wasn't none of our businesses up there.
Yeah.
It's true.
All right, we got to bounce. We will continue getting into other stuff like this, similarly like this on Thursdays. Tomorrow is the 5, and we're gonna get into the first week of preseason. We're gonna get into the GOAT that is Serena Williams, because we didn't get a chance to talk about that last week. And we will probably talk a little bit about the youth sports, because we've got a couple of guys who are in the Texas area that have got flushed out some more information as a result of what took place with that. So we'll get into more of that tomorrow. So thanks again to Patrice. Thanks to the fellas. Thanks for Mr. Popcorn World pulling up. And you can go get your Popcorn World right now at doingtheworldofflavor.com. Just go on and get you some. Go on and order you some popcorn. You'll be glad.
Get you a couple bags. Don't just order one bag. You got to order at least 2 bags, 3 bags. You know, try a bunch of flavors. Don't just buy one flavor.
Stop playing.
250 to choose from.
That's right. 250. Yep. All right. Until then, Mama Noise, keep getting better. We love you. Appreciate you. And to the rest of you, we'll see you on Thursday. Holla.
We're talking
Yo.
Hey, what's your take on this church girl?
What church girl?
Beyonce?
Oh. There are better things that we can do with our time than to talk about Beyonce.
I still ain't listened to that damn song yet.
Look,
that's my take.
I don't know. I take a different stance. I think at some point, if we don't put our foot down on some stuff, the fact that she sampled the Clark sisters, the silence is what disturbs me. There should be some stuff that's just not touchable.